Hi students, Mr. Metelsky here, and this video will be covering how to simplify cubic roots. Cubic roots look a little different than square roots. They still have that sort of check mark symbol, but they have this 3 inside, and that shows that it's a cubic root. And a cubic root asks the question, what number, when you multiply 3 factors of that number, gets the radicand? Meaning, the number in here, we need to find a number that when you multiply that number by itself, you're going to get that number in there. Okay. So for instance, a pretty common and easy one is the cubic root of 8. So what number times itself gets you 8? Well, 2 times 2 times 2 gets you 8. So the cubic root of 8 would just be 2. Okay, so it's different than square roots because in square roots we asked ourselves what number times itself is that number. This time it's what number times itself gets that number. But the good news is that the method is just the same. So I listed some perfect squares here, and our goal is to try to find what will divide into, or what will be a factor of the number that's inside the root, which, if you don't recall, that's called the radicand. So for instance, 108, if we look at our list here of perfect cubes, 108, the first one below it would be 64. Now, I know mentally 64 doesn't go into it, but if you are not 100% confident, you could, on your calculator, do 108 divided by 64. And that does not come out to be a whole number. So now we're going to move to 27. So 108 divided by 27. Bingo, 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this into the cubic root of 27 times the cubic root of 4. Now the cubic root of 27 is 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So we can really write this as 3, and there's no number that you're going to find, no whole number, that when you multiply it times itself, you get 4. If we were doing square roots, we'd have 2, but we're not doing square roots here. We're doing cubic roots. So in this case, we're just going to write the cubic root of 4 after it. So our final answer is 3 cubic root of 4. That is our simplified version of the cubic root of 108. All right, let's do the one down below, cubic root of 625. So 625, again, we go up to find where it is. It's going to have to be less than half of that if we use that rule from our square roots. So let's start at 216. So if we do 625 divided by 216, we do not get a whole number. So let's move down to 125. 625 divided by 125. Oh, that goes into it 5 times. So we're going to break this up into cubic root of 125 times the cubic root of what we got on our calculator, which is 5. And the cubic root, oh boy, be helpful if I wrote that in the right spot. So down here, it's the cubic root of 125 times the cubic root of 5. That's life. Sometimes we make mistakes. All right, so cubic root of 125, that means what number times itself gets 125? Well, that would be 5. So our answer is going to be 5 cubic root of 5. There will be times when the cubic root is a perfect cube, just like we had perfect squares. So 512 is a perfect cube, so the cubic root of 512 is 8. So we just write 8, no need to write the root anymore because we evaluated the root. And lastly, we have cubic root of 4,000. Well, if you look at our list here, 1,000 will definitely go into that. So we could break this up into cubic root of 1,000 times the cubic root of 4, because 4 times 1,000 is 4,000. And then the cubic root of 1,000, if we look over here, is 10. So we can rewrite this as 10 cubic root of 4. So remember, when you're doing your cubic roots, we're really saying what number times the same number times the same number will get you the radicand. And all three of these need to be the same. Okay? That number then is the answer to the cubic root. All right, as you're working, make sure that you're showing your work. This is what I'm looking for. And you could also have your list of perfect cubes by your side. You could always generate this list by using your calculator by just doing something as simple as 2 times 2 times 2. And that gets you 8. And then you could do 3 times 3 times 3 to get 27, and so on. Okay, so you could actually generate your own list. All right, good luck.